Installing stairs using BuilderRail is very similar to the standard straight section instructions. Like any stair railing, it does take a few modifications, but it's really very simple. Let's see how to get started building a stair section with BuilderRail. Before you begin, make sure your posts are no more than 8 feet on center and plumb. BuilderRail is designed to have at least a 1-inch thick plank installed over the top of the posts. To accomplish this, your post covers at the top of the stairs should be cut to 35 5/16 inches from the top of the deck surface as shown. These should match the rest of your posts and covers on your deck. Slide a TimberTech ornamental railing post cover and post skirt over the top and bottom posts and check for plumb. Start by cutting a piece of builder board slightly longer than the length of the stair run. Position the builder board on the stairs against the post covers and mark the length and angle. Cut the builder board ends along your marks. With the top rail in place between the post covers, mark the location of the upper edge of the top rail on the lower post cover. This will be the top leading edge of the angled cut for the lower cover. Now place the post cover back over the post and use it to mark the angle of the cut for the post on 2 sides. Slip the cover off one last time and using a straight edge, mark a parallel line about 1/8 inch below the lines you just made. Using a circular saw, trim your 4x4 post. Now, replace your post cover and skirt. To determine the height of your bottom rail, use a couple pieces of scrap builder board and stair connectors to mock up a small section of rail. Mark the top of your bottom rail on the post. At the top of the stairs, you will need to trim the builder board for a relief cut for the brackets at the top of the stairs. Measure up about 3/4 of an inch along the angled cut and cut back from there at a 45-degree angle. You won't need to make this modification at the lower ends of the rails, just the upper ends. Now that your posts are ready, let's start the railing assembly. Each baluster requires 2 baluster connectors, one on the bottom rail and one on the top. Position the builder boards side by side on edge and clamp them together. Make sure you have the correct edges up before you mark and pre-drill the rails. You should have opposing angles as shown. When laying out the baluster locations, keep in mind that the space between the balusters and post must be less than 4 inches apart. Now it's time to pre-drill the rails. Using an angled stair connector as a guide, position a 9/64" drill bit on one of your layout marks and just start the hole into the rail to keep the bit from slipping. Now, while holding the connector with the angle in line with the rail, tip the bit and connector over until the bottom of the connector rests flush with the rail. Make sure you are tipping your drill in the same direction of your end cuts. Continue to pre-drill to a depth of about 1 inch. Repeat this at each marked location. Next, let's install the brackets at each end. Start by pre-drilling with a 9/64" bit at a depth of 3/4 inch. Using the provided 3/4 inch screws, attach the 4 brackets to the rails. The brackets at the upper ends will have the tabs turned up, with the brackets set into the relief cut you made earlier. The brackets at the bottom of the stairs will be installed with the tabs facing down. Next, you will need to install foot blocks under the rails. TimberTech requires 2 foot blocks for each 6-foot section and 3 foot blocks for each 8-foot section of railing. Cut one end of each foot block to the same angle as your stairs. Use a 1/2-inch drill bit and drill 1 inch deep into one end. Now, using a 3/16-inch drill bit, drill completely through the foot block. Next, position your bottom rail between the posts at the height previously marked. Slide the foot blocks into place and mark their location on the bottom of the bottom rail. Remove your bottom rail and attach your foot blocks using the number 8 3.5-inch screws provided in your kit. Now you are ready to install the bottom rail. Place the rail between your posts and ensure that they are lined up with the mark made previously on the post cover. Center the rails on the post. Using a 3/16-inch bit, pre-drill through the post cover only and attach with the number 8 3-inch color-matched screws that are provided. Place your balusters over the connectors along the bottom rail. Now, bring your top rail into position and align the balusters with the connectors. Now you will need to attach the top brackets to the posts by pre-drilling and using the color-matched screws provided. The final step is to attach the top plank to the system. Use one of TimberTech's solid plank profiles for your top rail. Measure down the rail assembly and over the bottom post. The plank should cover the bottom post completely. To create a clean transition at the top post, place your stair rail top plank against the plank that will be top rail along the deck. If you are using our traditional 5/4 plank with the radius edges, it will be necessary to use a 3/4-inch Forstner bit as shown. Line up the outside edge of the bit with the mark where the 2 planks come together and just below the top of the plank. Start the bit into the plank and tilt the drill down to the approximate angle of the stair. Drill until the top edge of the bit just meets the flat top of the board and stop. Now using a jigsaw, set to half the stair angle, cut along the side edge of the plank until you meet the angled hole just drilled. Using a sharp utility knife or chisel, clean up the lower edge of the hole to create a straight line. It helps to undercut the edge slightly to form the joint. Now slide the joint together and check fit and adjust if necessary. Make sure to allow some overhang beyond the post cover to finish the ends of the planks as desired. To attach the plank to the post, use 2 number 8 3-inch colored screws 1.5 inches from the edge of the plank, angled as much as possible, but not so much as not to come through the bottom of the plank before going into the post. You will also need to pre-drill and attach the board to the builder board every 2 feet on center using the same screws. Once you have finished attaching your top plank to the railing assembly, your BuilderRail is complete.